have this bus all to myself. So today I am going to one of my favorite ocean spots. Gonna get some epic landscape stuff, but more like close in on the water, long exposures in the tide pool areas. I have a super wide lens I'm using right now. It's the Irix 15mm, but on the GFX that's a 12mm equivalent. It does mean for photos I basically have to crop in. I can do a 16.9, but what I really like to do with this lens is X-pan. Basically it's what, 64 to 24 or something like that, but super wide, super cinematic. But I'm shooting raw, so it gives me the option to crop in later and get a traditional 3/4 frame. So anyways, I got the bus all to myself. Before that though, there was actually two older people from California, from North California on the bus. It was just us, and it's a nice little conversation. They've been here for a while. They're retired. This is the area I would like to retire in, honestly. It's really nice down here. You'll see really soon. It's pretty epic. How's that for magic? So yeah, you'll be seeing this place a lot. I've actually done a lot of vlogs here earlier in the summer, but just haven't posted them for various reasons. Some of it was not up to my standards, which are pretty low, but I'll still post them. The only thing I don't like about this place is the sun it's coming right at you all day long until it gets over the hill behind me, the tsunami evacuation route. Anyways, yeah, the tide is really low right now. I probably don't have the right flip-flops for it, sandals for it, but when it's low, you can actually get out to this double peak little island there. And there's a torii gate up there. You can see it right now with this very ultra wide. I'll put an image here, not with this lens, but from probably the 250 or the 45 to 100. I usually use those lenses here, but you know, combination of the weight I just didn't want to deal with today. And you know, I really wanted to just focus on these close-ups. This Irix 15mm actually focuses remarkably close up for such a wide angle lens, and it's also f2.4, which for nighttime stuff is great too. But today we have an ND64 on it right now. No, it's just an ND8 on it right now. I have an ND1000. I technically have an ND64, but oh geez. That was a misstep. But yeah, no, whatever. It's the housing for the filters. I have two of the three. It's a long story. One got stuck on something. I had to basically rip it off. Saved the glass, lost the housing, but I can actually switch them out in between the housings. A little tedious, but it can be done. But today I really think I'm just going to be using that ND1000 because it's so bright and because I'm going for these long exposures. So yeah, tons of fish in here, by the way. I doubt you can see them, but we'll try and get in there with it. So you know, Japan is a country the size of California basically, but just so much coastline, not just because it's an island, but because so many ins and outs and little peninsulas and jagged coastlines. This coastline here though is mostly just straight. And this little place here, which will remain kind of secret, is special in that it's a little bit, for its location, for its proximity to Tokyo, it's pretty cool. There are some other places actually closer to Tokyo that are similar, but here is less people, which I love. If you see, there's a couple boats. It looks like I can't talk right now. It looks like they're snorkeling or diving there. There's like two people just chilling here, two people fishing. Undoubtedly some more people fishing over here. There's a lot of rocks and tide pools. I'll probably be going over that way in a little bit here. I'm gonna get my bearings though, get things set up, and tell you a little bit my process here. You know, when I'm doing these long exposures, there really is never just like, okay, we're gonna set it this way today and that's just gonna work all day. It doesn't work like that with long exposures with the ocean when waves are unpredictable. There's been a lot of typhoons this season, and there's still kind of a typhoon offshore. So it's really interesting because it's low tide, but like when I was coming in here, there was a lot of dramatic stuff I usually don't see. Like it's looks pretty calm right now, but it's pretty rough. But anyways, yeah, no, so when you're setting your long exposures, you really want to be in the moment and accept that a lot of them are not going to look the way you want them to. And it's really just a matter of, I mean, A, having the right ND filter, shutter speed, and aperture, and then knowing, you know, that, okay, this is too much blur, I want to back it off a little bit, or this is not enough blur, I want to back it off a little bit. And each wave is different, each angle is different, and it's just a little bit of trial and error, and the more you do it, the more you kind of get a feel for what's going to work. But I'll just tell you, I've been doing these for a pretty long time now, and sometimes my first, 20 shots are just like, nah, before I start to dial things in. In the past, it would have been like my first 200 shots, but yeah, getting better. These waves are getting bigger now. So over in this area, yeah, where these guys are fishing, I saw some really dramatic stuff. I think we're going to actually start over there today. See what we can get right now while the tide is coming in. Man, if this wasn't so rocky, that'd be a great little wave to catch right. Look at that wave. Yeah, that's unusual for here, those kinds of curling waves. There's big waves here sometimes, but that's a nice wave. I know what's happening though, because the wind is actually coming from behind me. Unusual as well. But today the wind is mostly coming from the other side because there's a typhoon over that way on the other side of this peninsula. Actually, all the way over in like Taiwan or something, but it's pushing in that way. So whereas the waves obviously are coming in this direction, you have wind pushing back against them. So making some interesting effects. All right, let's see what we can get here with these tide pools over here. Should be interesting. So this is the ocean, actually really calm compared to what it's been. I kind of went on a rant last time I was here because it was also during a typhoon, but it was really calm looking sea, but I was talking about how waves are so unpredictable and you should never turn your back on the ocean, as I'm turning my back on the ocean right now, but I can see out there, so I can see a big wave coming down. But basically, I've been riding a very fine line with comfort, or I was rather, over this way. Right here, I'm behind the camera even higher up. Now a freak wave could still get me, but it's pretty unlikely at this point. But yeah, I just want to drill that point into you guys though, because it's something that, A, if you don't know the place, really be careful. But no matter where you are and how well you think you know it, this Coast Guard, or military actually, the Army, they cruise up here, that's what it is, the helicopter, checking for people in trouble, I think, like me. But no, the areas I was getting some of these time lapses you see here, or these long exposures that you see, it was like 10 minutes of no problem, but I'm watching very carefully because every now and then it's getting higher and higher. And then right at the end, like the last few shots I grabbed, actually the last shot I grabbed when I was close up like this, there was a great shot I could have probably gotten. In fact, I could have gotten it, but it was just, the wave coming in was so huge. I was like, okay, I can't predict this one, whether or not it's going to get up to where I am. Because it's one of those things where even if it just gets up to my knees, it's going to sweep me out. And no, it's not very deep, but it's all lava rocks. If I hit my head and get unconscious, anyone that could save me, like, they're too far away to really get to me in time, or I guess I'm lucky if they do, if they even see me fall in. So it's a very real thing. There were some cameramen that one fell in and the other one saved him during a typhoon, filming or photographing near the ocean right after I got to Japan. And yeah, they both died. So
take it seriously. You know, you see here's another big wave coming in, and just, it's not your limits, know the ocean's limits, and you know where that fine line is between getting the shot and keeping alive. You see this, I mean, this is, it's going to be backed up by this other wave now here, and then there's a bigger one rising, it looks like. Yeah. But I think I'm getting some good shots, but the problem here right now is I have the sun right in my eyes. You know, I have an ND1000 on here, I have very high dynamic range with the GFX 100S, but I can't, even with these sunglasses, I can't really see the screen. I can see my framing just barely. It's a pain in the ass. To look through the EVF is also a pain in the ass, and then after that my eyes are blinded when I come back out of that because the sun's just so bright. I'm just going with what I know about this lens. The great thing about the Irix 15mm is it has a hard bump stop at infinity. So if I'm shooting anything beyond f8, which is most of what I'm doing today, I can just set it to infinity and pretty much be okay. If I want something in the foreground to be in focus a little bit more, I can just slightly back off on that. If I'm really close up, which is what I'd like to do at some point with some of the tide pools. But right now it's a lot rougher than I expected. Like the tide pools that I wanted to be shooting, they're not really easily accessible because wave could easily come up and flood in. You see again. I'm basically a 2 meter higher wave right now, away from getting wet at the very least. But yeah, beautiful day. Wow. So there's a big, I'll tell you right now, there's gonna be a big one coming. I just saw out here on the main island where the land bridge goes to, just a huge wave. Splashed almost all the way to the top of that, which has got to be at least, I would say, 40 meters high, well over 100 feet tall. Anyways, I'm gonna try and get some more shots. I think I was gonna go out here and get this kind of a little cape or whatever you want to call it, a little peak out there with some beautiful trees, and the waves are hitting huge over there, kind of like they're hitting the island. But what it comes down to is I want to come out here another day like this. It's a little bit of luck, you know, because you look at the weather, oh, it's windy, maybe there's gonna be some good waves, but it doesn't always mean that. But I'd like to come out here with a 250mm, which I've done before and gotten shots of that before, but never with the waves like they are today. Here it comes. That's the one that, oh, there's probably one behind this. But yeah, with that 250mm on a day like this, doing on the tripod, long exposures, just a little bit long exposures with some of those epic flashes you may be seeing behind me. Should be pretty nice. Anyways, we're gonna go back down over this way though. There are a lot more tide pools over there, and because the waves are coming in this direction and I can see it looks a little more calm over there, we'll see just how calm it is. Maybe I can still get my close-up tide pool shots with this Irix 15mm. Let's hope. Let's hope I don't end up in the ocean today. Usually that would be a good thing, but not today. One more big one coming in right here. It's beautiful, and I'm drawn to this kind of stuff. I love this dramatic ocean scenery. And, using a wide angle where I have to get this close. It's like this is a bit sketchy. I'm going to pan over through really quickly. So over there is where I was. I was pretty far out on that group of rocks. Whoa, that got high up. To say it is hot today would be quite the understatement. You know, it's hot, it's humid. There's been so many typhoons, one after another. This summer was already a very hot summer.
Okata. But yeah, so I was actually kind of thinking maybe I should call it a day. I was getting way too much sun, but my battery died. I had 2 more. I popped in the other one, and during that time I was like, I'll look at my phone and just check what time it was, and it was like 3:15, and that set off an alarm because there's 2 different last bus schedules. One's for the weekend, one's for weekday. Usually I never remember which one it is, but I was pretty sure this time I was like, I think it's a weekday. So what it is, weekend, the last bus is only 4:30 p.m., which is super early, right? On the weekday, it's 3:30, which is so early because this is like beautiful place, and there's even like a what do you call it? An outside bar. There's a word for it, but a space where they do like a nighttime thing where you can drink that goes till 10 p.m. most nights. But people have no choice but to take a taxi or walk, which is like over an hour walk back to the station. And both ways are at nighttime, I would say, not safe. Actually, right now this bus is having trouble because it's so tight, this road. When you take this bus, actually on the way up, I was like, I should have recorded that. There's like a tree and a rock where like such a tiny space that has to go through to get up there. But anyways, bottom line is like, I was like, I think it's 3:30, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go up to the top of the hill, which is really not easy. I mean, seriously not easy, especially when it's this hot. I almost felt like I wasn't gonna make it, but I was like, okay, I'll just go up there and see what time the last bus is. If there's another bus coming, maybe I'll go back down, but I knew it was kind of unlikely. Bottom line is, I got to the top and I saw that it was 3:30, and in my head I was like, wait, that probably took more than 15 minutes to get up here. But I was like, I should check. And as I was running out, I was like, oh yeah, I can check the time on my camera. And I saw it was 3:26, and I saw the bus at the exact same time sitting there. So I ran to the bus. I'm the only person on this last bus. I was the only person coming here except for the couple that was on for a second. And another gentleman got on a little bit later, but let's see if you can see the ocean. Beautiful views. I stayed in a hotel down here once. It was really cheap, but mosquitoes. I had a little crack in my door. It's in another vlog. I'm gonna release that after this, but yeah, a little tiny crack in my door. I had to fill it with a sock, but bottom line is I got eaten by mosquitoes, and I stayed up till like 3 a.m. smashing mosquitoes because I figured out whether they're getting in. Beautiful girls, by the way. I don't know if they're in focus. But I figured out how they're getting in, blocked them, but there was still like 20 mosquitoes. I spent the next 2 hours smashing. But anyways, so the bottom line is I can come back here. It's not difficult for me. Beautiful though. It's hard to walk away from this. Next time I might just stay in a hotel again because then I have that freedom. I need to get a little, like they say, Genzuki, little 50cc motorcycle. See if I can find some back roads to get down here, because that would be ideal. Or rent a e-bike or something in this area. But I think I'd rather have just a little motorcycle, zip around a little bit quicker. Anyways, so yeah, obviously I did some more shots here. I think I got some pretty good shots, but again, it's really hard just to see the EVF, so you're seeing these shortly after I finally saw them on the computer. But yeah, nice day. I should have got her earlier. That's always the case, and honestly, the best way to do it, if I'm not going to stay at a hotel, is to come here at night, because the last train will get me to the station at 12:30, and the taxi runs until 12:30. So I'm thinking if I call ahead of time from the train, that's the almost send taxi, and maybe just really nicely tell them I'm gonna be there like, exactly 12:30, and hopefully the taxi's waiting. Worst case scenario is an hour walk. But I've been kind of injured this year, like I said, so I'm not really wanting to do this walk again for a while. But yeah, if I can do that, get the taxi, get here at 1 o'clock, especially in the summertime though. Summer's ending here, but if I can do that, basically get out of there at 1 o'clock, by the time you're actually down there set up and doing photos, it's almost 2 o'clock, and basically you just got 2.5 hours before the sun starts coming up, so it's not such a bad thing actually. And I am a night owl anyway, so it makes sense. Only thing is that, you saw how rugged that is, and
It's not the easiest terrain to I can't talk. It's not the easiest terrain to traverse. There's the word I'm looking for. You live 13 years in Japan and see if you remember words. But anyways, yeah, so it's a little sketchy if you're going there by yourself at night. I'd probably be smarter to try and find somebody else, another brave soul to go there at night, but that's hard. That's easier said than done to get somebody else willing to go out there so late. But yeah, we'll see. Work something out here in the future and get out there at night, because I want to get the Milky Way behind the Double Arch Island there. I think that would be epic, and I'm sure it's got to happen at least once a year. So anyways, so that's it. Nice little fishing town. This is the actual town. So thank you for watching Film Studio Taku in Japan, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.